When it comes to breaking glass after we've scored it, most of us just use a normal pair of running pliers. But there are tools in the marketplace such as the Silberschnitt and the Briers that have been designed to help artists break more complex score lines and inner curves. In this video, I'll be doing a comparison between these tools. So anyway, let's get into the video and have a look. Well, I'm ready to break some glass, but before I do, I just want to point out whenever you're working with glass, don't forget to wear your protective eyewear. And in this particular video, I've also chosen to wear protective gloves. Now let's look at some of the differences between these tools. The Briers weigh approximately 152 grams and the Silberschnitts weigh approximately 200 grams. Now the Silberschnitts are made out of metal, being aluminium, and the Briers are made out of a polymer plastic. Now if we look at the throat on the Briers, from the end of the throat here to the middle of the top pad here, the depth is 23 millimeters. And if we look at the Silberschnitts, the end of the throat here to the middle of the top pad here, the depth of the throat is approximately 35 millimeters. Now, the Brier does have a few other features which we'll look at further into the video, but let's start breaking some glass. Well, I've taken these two pieces out of the same sheet of glass to try and get them to be quite fair with each tool. And as we know, when it comes to scoring and breaking glass, temperature comes into play. There's also different manufacturers of the glass. There's so many different variables that come into how a piece of glass scores and breaks. And the curve I've put in it, I've drawn a texture there to try and make them identical with each other. So all I'm going to do now is just put a score line through that texture mark. The same on this one. Well, I've got the Briers here, and up the top is a screw, and all you do is just push that down, and then that enables you to turn the actual pad into the right direction to follow the score line. So mine's in the right direction, and all I'm going to do now is put the glass in between the jaws. And I do like how it's got a bright green line and also a pointy bit there that enables you to follow the score line. So all I'm going to do is just line that up and then squeeze the handles together very slightly, and you'll hear a click. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Squeeze it together slightly. Once I've got it lined up, there you go. And that just comes out like that. Beautiful break. Now I'm going to try the same now with this piece of glass and the Silberschnitts. And the Silberschnitts have a pad up the top there, and it's got a mark there that you need to line that up with your score line. And this pad moves freely. It doesn't lock in like the Briers. So all I do now is just put that in between the jaws and line it up and just squeeze the handle slightly. Oops, I haven't got that lined up quite right. Yep, now I have. And just squeeze the handle slightly when it's lined up. And you'll hear it crack. And then I'll do the same on this side. You don't have to push hard. You just squeeze them together slightly. There you go. And a beautiful break as well. Well, both tools did a really great job of breaking the stained glass. Now what I've done is I've actually drawn a deeper curve in the glass, and I'm going to score that and then break it. So we'll see how we go with each of the tools. I'll do this one as well while I'm at it. That last piece that I just scored, I dropped onto the concrete floor, and I had to get another piece of glass out of the same sheet, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm just rescoring. Concrete and stained glass never ends well. And first up are the Briers. And I just heard a click. I'm really happy with that. Try the Silberschnitts and see how that works. Well, I'm really happy with that break too. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different this time. I'm going to be using my ordinary plastic Lepinette running pliers and see how they break a couple of these curves, just out of interest. Now I've used the same profile to get this curve as what I did to get this curve. So all I'm going to do now is just score this. Now we'll see if my ordinary Lepinette plastic running pliers can actually break that. Just put it in there. Whoop, straight away. Absolutely, I must admit that's really very, very good. I'm really pleased about that. Now I'm going to try doing a curve like that and see if they can do that. Because like I say, sometimes the magic works and sometimes it doesn't. So let's give that a bit of a whirl just using the ordinary running pliers. Well, I've drawn the same deep curve and I've scored it with the glass scorer. So let's get the running pliers and see how this goes. I don't hold much hope for this, but you just never know. So we'll just put it on the edge there. Just lightly push the handles together. Hear a bit of a click, and we'll try this side. Ooh, sounds okay. I can't get in there to do any more, so we'll see. Not as easy to get out as the others, but might be able to just get a little bit on the side there. I don't know if that's possible, but we'll see. There you go. Did the same with an ordinary set of running pliers. But bear in mind, it comes down to the glass as well. Both the Silberschnitt and the Briers break glass effortlessly. And although I haven't had the Briers for very long, they have worked quite well for me. There is also a thumb screw on the Briers that you can adjust. This allows you to set how wide you want the handles to open up to. The Silberschnitt handles are pretty close together, so they don't actually need that feature. The Briers state that they have 5 times the multiplication force, but I'm not sure if that's necessary because when we are breaking glass, we're generally using very little pressure anyway. Breaking smaller piece of glass with the Briers was very easy, and I love how the scoreline mark is easily seen with its bright colour and pointy nose. I really did think that was a lovely addition to the Briers. The Brier has been designed with an angled head, and breaking larger pieces of glass like hobby squares does require a bit more consideration. Due to the design of the angled head on the Briers, I was finding myself breaking away from the table rather than close to the table. I could angle my hand and the glass down towards the table, however doing so, this leads to my hand and the glass being at an angle. This may be ergonomically counterproductive because the handles have been designed for ergonomics, but this I'm not really sure about. From a safety point, my preference is to always break the glass close to the table in case the glass slips or I slip with the glass. Now let's have a look at replacing the consumable parts on these tools. The first one being the Briers. So if we get a close-up of the Brier head, you can see that there's a flexible plate here and also a little ball here. And these are the 2 parts that would need replacing. So to replace this flexible plate, you can grab hold of it, including the head, and then undo the screw, or you can, and this is the way I do it, you can push the 2 handles together just slightly, just so the top and bottom part are touching, and then you can then unscrew the actual screw that's in it. Being very careful, there is a spring in that, so you don't want to lose that spring. There you go. And you just pull that out and put it aside because it needs to go back in. And then when you start releasing the handles, that top flexible plate will then start to drop out. So you just take it out and put that aside, get your new one, put that in where the other one came out of and just slot that in like that. Do your ply handles close together again so that holds it in there, and then you get your thumb screw with the spring on, put that back in the hole and just start doing it up, making sure that you don't cross thread it. And you're not going to do it up tight. You'll feel there's a bit of pressure on it and then you just nip it. That's about it. Now to replace this ball down here, we need to take out this metal pin that's in the bottom of this area here. So we're going to remove that, and it is going to require a little bit of effort to remove it because it is in there firmly, so as it doesn't come out and you lose it. And then we're going to now replace or remove this thumb screw here, and we're going to put that somewhere safe. Then we're going to get this metal pin, and I'll turn this around. We're going to get this metal pin, and at the bottom of that ball there, on the bottom part of the jaw, is a hole, and that pin can go into that hole. Now, when we push that pin up, that ball is going to drop out. So you can hold the ball as you do it, or you can let it drop out, and making sure you have a container or something on the ground so it doesn't roll away because it is only small. But I'm just going to use my thumb just to show you. Actually, I won't use my thumb because this will show you what happens when we push it and it falls out. Then we remove the metal pin. We put this straight back into the side here because you're not going to need that again. Slot that firmly back in its place. Now, when you put the ball back, you can use your fingers or you can use a pair of tweezers. I find using the tweezers is easier. So I'm just going to get the ball again. And I'm going to get my pair of tweezers, and I'll try and turn that around so you can see it. And I'm going to put the ball in here. Hopefully you'll see that. And I'm going to sit it in there. Now you need to make sure that it actually goes in straight. So we're just going to maneuver it around with the tweezers, and you, like I say, you can use your fingers until you've got it in there straight, and then I'm going to get my finger and just push it down. You can push the jaws together to push it down, but I find using my finger is easy, and also I can see that the actual little ball is going in straight. Now to replace the top and bottom pad on the Silberschnitt, we just need to hold the Silberschnitt, grab hold of the top pad there, pull it out, put that aside, get the new one, put that into the hole that the old one came out of and push it in. And then we get the bottom pad and we pull that out, we put that aside, and then we get the new one, put that into the hole that the old one came out of and push it in. And make sure that you don't swap these around. This belongs to the top and this one belongs on the bottom. And you can tell the top because it's got the name there. And that really does make it very easy to replace the pads on the Silberschnitts. The Silberschnitt pliers have been around for decades and are used in the glass industry. I like that I'm able to break the glass close to the table, and I also like how the pad at the top of the Silberschnitt freely moves, making it very easy to adjust in any direction without locking it into place. Whenever you are working with glass or tools, always work safely and treat them with respect. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've taken something away from it. And if you're looking at purchasing one of these tools, please put a comment down in the bottom of the comment section of the YouTube channel. And if you liked the video, please give it a like. If you saw value in it, please share it far and wide. And if you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video. Keep creating and enjoy.